Hello, world. Thank you for joining us at Two Grumpy Old Men podcast. My name is Tim Bagwell, and the other grumpy old man is
My name is Rich Garling.
Rich. What are we talking about today?
Well, Tim, we got a bunch of topics to talk about today. And I want everybody to know that in this podcast, what we want to do is we try to break down policies that shape our lives. Okay, but hopefully we do it without all the noise. So today I'm going to unpack hopefully something that's very touching to everybody. It touches everything. Your every car, kitchen remodel across America. Inflation fueled by tariffs. Now, it's what I call the tariff tornado. So this is where we're at. Trump's second term trade strategy, what's being called Trump 2.0, has ramped up tariffs on everything from Chinese EVs to Canadian lumber. The White House says it's about protecting jobs. But critics, and us included, a growing number of economists say these tariffs are doing something almost entirely different. They're stoking inflation. Now, we've got tariffs on things like steel and aluminum, electric vehicles and batteries, European wine, cheese, even Canadian lumber. It's a pretty sweeping regime. And now the global economy is reacting. China's retaliating. The EU is threatening to take us to the WTO. U.S. manufacturers are beginning to sound the alarm on higher costs. I mean, you've got retailers like Walmart who are sitting there and saying, hey, we got to pass this on to somebody. Guess who's going to be? Us. So, according to the Fed, this isn't just academic. Thomas Barkin of the Richmond Fed says tariffs are very likely to drive inflation higher. Jerome Powell was just in Congress, yesterday, echoing that in front of Congress, pointing out that businesses and consumer expectations are already rising, in large part because of tariffs. And a recent Boston Fed study, well, it estimates tariffs could push core inflation up by 2.2 percentage points. And according to them, there's no rounding error in there. So let's talk about how this is for your day to day. They're estimating housing costs, paying for more for lumber, steel, even appliances. That's tacking on an estimated $10,900 of the cost of building a new home. Mortgage rates are staying high. Renovation costs are up. Housing affordability, that's a joke. Groceries are climbing. Tariffs are on imported produce, meat, and packaged goods are hitting your basket hard. Over 80% of Americans now expect food prices to rise because of tariffs, and many are changing their shopping habits or stockpiling. I can tell you right now, Tim, that Gail and I are doing just that. We're stockpiling. Heck, we're even putting in bottled water, and that just because of the fact that we can do. I because I have a CPAP machine, I have to use distilled water in that CPAP machine. Well, I also have a dehumidifier here. And guess what kind of water that is? It's distilled water. So I'm taking the old bottles, where I bought it at the store. And mind you, it doesn't cost a real lot. Excuse me. But I'm taking that distilled water from the dehumidifier and I'm filling up those bottles with it. So I'm trying to save pennies everywhere that I can. Automobiles. Now, Gail and I are in the market for an automobile. We come to discover that the car we have is known for using oil. We had just recently had a seal fixed on the engine because it leaked oil. They got the seal fixed. They changed the oil. Now we got 2,000 miles left before the next oil change, and there's no oil on the dipstick. We're like going, okay.
That doesn't sound
So
good.
it, no. So we did some research and discovered that this particular car, and I'm not going to say which one, but this particular car has a tendency to burn oil. Not burn it, I'm sorry, use it. It's not burning any oil. That much I know, but it is using it. And the next step, of course, leads to burning oil, and I don't want that. So we're going
Yeah.
to go out and look for another car, and most likely, we certainly won't buy the same brand. Okay, but at any rate, they're saying that the tariffs on vehicle imports and parts are adding $3,000 to $6,000 to the average new car. Now that's pushing more people into the used car market. And guess what? Prices are rising there too because demand is going up. and supply is not necessarily high. So this isn't just economic, by the way, it's also political. Trump's approval ratings are slipping, with net disapproval ranging from -8 to -21, depending on the poll that you look at. And that's putting some Republicans, particularly in the Senate, in a tricky spot, especially in battleground states. The White House, though, is doubling down on Trump's brand, because if inflation does worsen, it's going to be a tough battle in 2026. So the question is will tariffs protect American jobs or price out American families? Can inflation be controlled without derailing the economy or the president's agenda? So, Tim.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I needed to put it in context,
Right. That's okay.
And I know there's more than just tariffs. We got the big beautiful bill to talk about, and immigration. We don't want to be distracted by the great distraction, which is the bombing in Iran. That's what it is. There's
the current distraction, which may not be over because you says the mission accomplished, the war's over. Well, when has that ever been true?
Oh, yes. It reminds me of when George Bush, had come out with this, big sign on the battleship that said "Mission accomplished," and it wasn't anywhere near it.
Yes.
And this,
nowhere near
here, yeah.
And that was the first of his wars.
Yep.
Followed by Afghanistan, Iraq, then Afghanistan. It's insane. I was thinking about we're on a near retiree, semi-retired consumption plan, and we bought we had two very small old timey refrigerators, two like dorm room refrigerators, and so in our small home they were taking up a little footprint, and they're old, and we got rid of those and got a imported Chinese about almost 5 foot tall refrigerator, just takes up the same space footprint wise, and it was for $279, a very good price, and but it had this would not have cost this. We bought that before the tariffs. Before it was still a twinkle in his eye, and I've kept track of it though, and it's gone up $20, in price, which would not have stopped us. Yet, but still, after a while, you look at things like there's the price, there's the add-on tariff, and then you wanted the insurance on the thing. It's like, well, do I need insurance? Those prices go up far enough, people are likely not to buy the insurance plan, or or not buy at all the item at all if they go up high enough. And we'll see the 90 days. The 90 days is almost up, right? The freeze on this, and the Canadians. The Canadians, have worked out a deal with the EU, basically to, by and large, replace us. The Canadians will not replace us. Well, yes, they will. They're replacing, us with the EU imports. Rich, we appear to be frozen.
Can you hear me? Okay.
All right, that's where your commercial will be inserted when we're really making good.
Yes.
When we're really doing well, that's where our commercial will be. So Rich was sharing about his personal experience with looking at buying imported items or items that may be imported by and large. I had shared mine about the refrigerator that we recently bought, a mini fridge, but a tall mini fridge, and which converts to a freezer. Good price. I actually turned it on freezer by mistake when I first installed it. That was a surprise.
Hey, a related story for you.
Okay.
I think it was about 6 months ago. Gail and I bought a big upright freezer. We used to have one of those freezer chests. Okay,
Right.
and it was only like 5.5 cubic feet or something like that. I forget. Well, this thing here is like, I think it's like 10 or 11 cubic feet. It's a fairly good size freezer. And the whole reason we bought it was so that we could, when things go on sale, since again, we're retired, so we have to go into a different mode of spending and everything. And now I have this huge freezer that actually has a smaller footprint because it's upright than the chest,
Right.
has. And in the meantime, I'm trying to sell the chest, to get rid of it and everything. But but it's nice because we can pack all kinds of things in there and stuff that we use on a fairly regular basis. And so so
The freezer
that's what
prices
we're
tend to
doing
be
there.
reasonable. The freezer prices tend to be reasonable because they're a simple. They're a simple model. It's a simple, freeze.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
right.
So
Not like all the bells and whistles of your stand-up refrigerator with the the
yeah,
ice
yeah.
maker. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
so basically back, we're seeing economic hits, just on things we're trying to buy, in general, with groceries or appliances and things like that. And that we're having a window replaced here at the house, and that and that's going to cost us an arm and a leg, to do that. I've had the place that I used to work at. Okay, all of the products that they pretty much sell are from China.
Right.
So when he put that 30% tariff on automatically, uh, that hit hard. Then when he threatened 130%, and then turns around and backs off from that and keeps it at 30%. I'm sorry, but the 30% still hit hard.
You're right.
130%, whatever, and it may end up, killing the company
Well,
because
us as consumers, a place that sells certain things that we may buy. I know who you're talking about, but I don't want to give it away. Small
right,
items that are bought on the fly, or maybe there are collectors that buy things, but the consumer is not going to be so much hit as the retailer is going to be hit.
well,
As,
they were already asking, they're asking people to spend their last nickel on a collectible item, okay, and it was already, expensive. Now it's going to be even more expensive because there's no way that this company can afford to absorb that. But the point of what's happening as a result of these tariffs, they've let go. What was it? Somewhere in the neighborhood in the last month, they've let go somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 90 people. Over 10% of their workforce so far has been laid off
right,
because of the fact that the sales are down. They
right,
had to stop a major. They had to stop a major, major upgrade platforming. They were going from a homegrown mainframe business management system to SAP, and as we know, SAP takes a while and it's expensive. Okay, and they basically after what was it? It's been 6, 7 years that they started this project, and they had to drop it. Literally had to drop it because they could no longer, pay for it. Would be my guess, and
right.
that they didn't exactly officially say why or anything like that. And I was kind of a victim of that. What was it? Starting last fall, in which my position was eliminated, along and a bunch of other people's positions were eliminated as they tried to start to cut costs because they could see what was going to happen.
Right.
What was it? No, last January. Yeah, when I
Right,
when
right,
I
right.
so
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah. With all the hysterical approach to administration that Trump does, various the hysteria, the con man, the look over here while I'm doing this over here approach
Hmm.
is problematic. But the what I'm wondering about, and I was reflecting on our roles as IT project managers over the years, and how many things we flow charted in terms of designing a project or explaining a project's flow to management. And I was thinking about this. It actually started when I was thinking about. I have a small library of sort of a history of American corruption. Watergate, the Iran Contra thing, the going all the way back at least to the not all the way back to Teapot Dome, but you could. I have books on that, but also the savings and loan crisis. All right,
Hmm.
and what would be interesting is to chart the development of these crises All right, and chart in particular the corruption. You know, and they provided us in part with the documentation in the Project 2025. So, and it's a big document. So, so it might be a call for kind of a call for papers. We go out and we ask people, can you chart this aspect of Project 2025 in a flow chart? And then we start flow charting what he's done. What he's done, not necessarily all related to Project 2025, but to see if we can build. I'm just theorizing here. We're probably, you and I are not going to do this, but a call out to the world: can we chart a predictive model of his next move? I don't know.
Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one.
Yeah,
I think even he doesn't know what it is that he's doing, and readily admitted it.
yeah, but that doesn't mean we don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
We could try. Yeah, we could
It
certainly
could
try.
be. It could
We
be.
could try.
Well, again, if it's a group source thing, who gets the prize for the correct prediction?
Yeah, really, really. I hear you there. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Oh
yeah,
my God.
yeah.
That would be wild.
Because
So,
the prior documentation of the other corruptions, the other corrupt administrations, Nixon being a good example, because so many elite actors were involved. In the operation. I mean, some of the Teapot Dome involved a lot of external actors, but it did involve at least one federal official being, impeached. Was he impeached or I can't remember. He was put in jail though, or something along those lines.
yeah, he went to court. He got,
Yeah.
but that's something. Yeah, we'd have to do some research on
Yeah.
exactly what
Well,
happened
actually,
there.
it's more of a put out a call for research. Just what.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's how can that? Because one of the problems the Democrats have, one of the advantages the Democrats have is that, fortunately, the people seem to be lifting them up. They aren't really lifting themselves up. There's a few actors in there, and the recent mayor's race in New York, I'm jealous of that guy at 33 years old being mayor of New York,
Yeah.
and being a
I wish
Democrat.
him the best of luck.
Exactly, and as a democratic socialist, I think it's a great event, and so people like him and AOC, they're having an effect well, they've been lifted up,
Oh,
and now with No Kings as an example, and I'm sure No Kings is always going to be the theme, but those millions of people who came out, the biggest demonstrations ever, they're lifting up the movement. They're lifting up the movement of reform and of But it
it's becoming
wouldn't.
a people's movement. Yeah.
Yeah, they're lifting up the party. The party need. It's the old case of I need the Frenchman that said, "Where are my people? Where are my people going? I need to. I need to get in front of them to lead them." You know the. Yeah. That's part of the thing is that
Well,
where.
the,
Uh,
No,
yes.
I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
And it's a case of where, and in this case here, the Republicans are obviously doing nothing, and the Democrats need to be led, to do something,
Right.
which is really a shame. I've been a lifelong Democrat, and I am sorely disappointed
Yeah.
in my own party
Yeah.
because of the fact that they're really not doing anything. Did you see the list Cheney list of things that she felt that
No.
they should do? Oh yeah, she came out with a whole it's holding hearings. Let's put it this way.
Oh, like a shadow government
More
kind of.
Yeah, well, if the Republicans were able to do what they did in order to get into power, why is it that the Democrats can't do that?
Yeah.
Why? Because we're too polite.
Exactly.
And I
Well.
find that to be, and
Well.
I don't mind being polite, but that's really irritating.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, because I've thought about, and that's that. What are the Democrats willing to do to the people who attempted to overthrow the government of the United States and the Constitution? What are they willing? Are they willing to do what needs to be done? Putting people, arresting people, indicting people, arresting people, putting them on trial for this bold attempt to destroy the social contract that is the Constitution.
Yeah,
Essentially, that's it. There's a
yeah.
social contract,
Well,
and
now they're
it's
going to have to come up with all kinds of new charges against these people because of the fact that Trump pardoned them all. And in fact, it wouldn't surprise me, by the way, if a lot of these people are the ones that are behind the masks for ICE. Oh, now what?
Oh, we're okay. We're okay. What? No, it says it's recording on my end. I see it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Join with a faster computer. We'll take care of that right away. You're gone. Can you hear me? Spring schedule. Wow. Okay, wait one moment, please.
Okay, you still here?
Please, one moment, please. Well, Rich, that looks like it's it for today. We've covered a number of topics: immigration, tariffs, tariffs, immigration, the cost of living, especially our own experiences with the cost of living, and the idea that how can we chart this madness? Unchartable by us, but you would think that the party, needs to get innovative, and it has the technical and financial resources to chart. Meanwhile, the people are lifting the party up. By party, I mean the Democratic Party.
By the way, just let me just add a little final note here too. Just an update for folks. The big beautiful bill. Okay,
Yes.
the parliamentarian has so far said that because it's a reconciliation bill, the Byrd rules. Robert Byrd had set up these rules that when you're doing reconciliation on a budget bill, it has to be about budgets.
Right.
And so the parliamentarian takes a look at everything in that budget bill and says, here's what goes and here's what doesn't go. And so there have been things that have been taken out of, and one of them in particular that I've talked about in my blog post, judicial constraints. That's
Right.
out of the bill, okay, which is really great. There's also some Medicaid changes, too, that are out of the bill at the moment. Which I'm sure is going to upset a lot of Republicans in the House, and some environmental rollbacks. There was a provision in there to weaken the EPA vehicle emission standards. That's been taken out. They were going to force the Postal Service to abandon electric vehicles. That's been taken out of the bill. There was immigration enforcement things in there. That's been taken out of the bill. Medicaid change, I just mentioned that already. Federal employee rules. They wanted to, there was a proposal to increase retirement contributions for civil servants who decline at-will status, and that was deemed extraneous. and then for the Farm Bill overhaul, any attempt to suspend permanent price support authority, which is, of course, key to farm subsidies, and that was also blocked. So
Yeah.
the next step is for the Republicans.
Well,
None of the.
the
Go ahead.
the Republicans don't want to do their work, so they try to put everything in one bill,
Right.
sneak it through, because they know if they were to take these things on one at a time, well, that's work, and in the words of Joni Ernst, I guess she believes they're all going to die anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for today, folks. And that, so I'm Rich Carling.
I'm Tim Bagwell.
Have yourself
This
a
has
good
been
week.
Two Grumpy Old Men. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm leaving.